Hello, Beth the Builder here, and this week I'm building and installing custom cabinetry for around my oven. So, why isn't there cabinetry here? I don't know. My kitchen was obviously built a long time ago, and it didn't exactly have a big old oven in mind when they did it. So there is a vent now. Obviously it's all like wired in for a electric oven. But yeah, there's just this like weird gap over here, and then there's a gap over here. There's also a drawer here, which definitely tells me that no one thought an oven was gonna be here. At least not as big as this one. We've never used this drawer because it's a stupid drawer. But yeah, usually an oven isn't just stuck on a wall with like unfinished cabinetry around it or no cabinetry. It's very annoying because food and grease and stuff falls between this little area here. And then also the oven doesn't sit flush with the cabinets, which is how it would normally be in a modern kitchen. So obviously none of this stuff is like a huge deal. We've obviously been using it and it's not a problem, but yeah, it just seems a little bit unfinished. And I mean, I think it'd be nice to have the extra counter space to actually be able to use that. So what I'm gonna use is, I have some 1x3s, and then I got a big old chunk of plywood that isn't fancy because wood is super expensive right now. So I kind of have just like, I'm just using what I have because I'm not gonna spend $25, $30 on a piece of stupid plywood. And anything like nicer than that is like double. So I am literally using like whatever I've got, and we're just gonna like make do. So this side, I'm gonna build a little skitty cabinet with a door on it, and then a piece of counter on top. And then this side, it's kind of a more modern thing that you'll see in kitchens is if it's like a traffic way or like a corner cabinet, sometimes they'll do like open shelving. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do a couple shelves here that are open, and then also counter on top. I'm gonna bring the oven forward so it's flush with the cabinets over here in the corner. And that's the thing about like doing some of this stuff yourself. You can make it your own. So you can do whatever you want. Like you can do shelves, you can do a cabinet, you can do drawers, like you can do whatever you want. So yeah, I'm excited to have this all finished. I think it'll be really cool when it's all done. It may not be perfect because I'm not a perfectionist, nor am I a cabinet maker. So bear that in mind. I only know the basics of this stuff. So if I can do it, you can do it. There's your motivation for the day. So anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so I have all of my pieces, for the most part, cut and painted, and I've already tacked together my bottom frames, or like toe kicks is kind of what I've called them in my notes. So it's about 2 inches shallower than the actual cabinet footprint is, so that you can stand like right up against the cabinet. The ones in my kitchen are really shallow because my kitchen is very old and the cabinets are very old. So that's my base, or toe kicks, whatever you want to call them. And then I have my bottoms of my cabinets cut and the side pieces. So first I'm going to tack together the first pieces, like the sides and the bottom, and then we'll get to putting together shelving for the open shelving and building a door and stuff. So I'm gonna end up using wood glue and a combination of screws, but I also got these little L brackets. So I have these big ones, and then I also have some little ones. And they're just really nice for extra support when doing something like this that's going to be somewhat freestanding. So I don't know that that's the right way to build a cabinet, but that's how I'm doing it. So I'm gonna get to tacking together my sides and my bottom, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the last thing I need to cut are my counter pieces. So these are two nicer pieces of wood. I think this one's oak, maybe. I don't know what this one is. It may not be actually that nice, but it's one of the bigger pieces of wood I have. So that's why we're using this too. I've sanded them down. So I actually sanded them like the proper way, which is to go like coarser and then down to finer with your sandpaper. I don't usually do that because I guess I don't usually care that much about what I'm sanding. So this is kind of the last thing I need to do. I'm gonna cut them and stain them, and I want them to look really nice. So I'm gonna be very particular. So everything else is cut and painted and kind of like ready to be installed. I had to do some tweaking with my general measurements because yeah, I ended up not taking into account some things, as well as like an old kitchen. Not everything is square where you think it's gonna be. So, but it's fine. Nothing like too major. But yeah, that stuff is all ready to go. I have a door all ready to go for my cabinet front. So that's all kind of done. So yeah, this is kind of the last thing I need to cut and kind of like complete before we can start installing everything. So let's do it. Alrighty, so I pretty much have everything cut, put together, painted, stained, tweaked, and now all we have to do is install them. So I have some L brackets that I'm going to use to install them and secure them against my walls, as well as secure the counters in place too. Okay, so this is the side that's going to go between my oven and my existing cabinets, and I technically only made like 3 sides for this. So I have a bottom obviously, and then I have a left side that's gonna go against my oven, and then I have a front frame that my door is gonna be installed on. And then I'm just gonna use the existing cabinets on the right, and then the behind my oven is actually tile. So this is kind of just like a way of being frugal about wood and everything, and kind of just using what's here. And I don't think anyone's gonna notice because it's all white cabinets that's been painted back there. So technically this probably isn't like the right way to build a cabinet, and I am aware of that, but I don't care. It's totally gonna work, and it's gonna be a cute little cabinet, and it's gonna be very useful. So, and that's all I care about. Like, there are a couple things that didn't go exactly how I wanted that will probably always bother me until I fix it or something like that. Like the top of my door, there's like a slight discrepancy between the backing and the trim I put on it, and it's gonna bother me. So I might end up fixing that at some point because it's not exactly how I wanted it to turn out, but for now it will work, it will be okay, and I can fix it in the future. The same with some like having to tweak some things because I've never built this much cabinetry, and I'm not a cabinet maker or a carpenter, so you kind of just have to figure it out as you go. But that's how you learn. Like, you mess it up and you learn something from it, and then you can do better and you have like gained some experience. Alrighty, so let's get to installing my cabinets. Okay, so everything is installed. I had to do some last minute little tweaks, but nothing major. My door opens and closes. My counters are level and they fit super snug, which was like my goal. that was just like a really important thing to me to make it look very finished, is to cut these friggin' counters incredibly precisely. So that went really well. I rounded this bottom shelf actually, which wasn't in my initial plan, because I realized, just because this is a traffic area, that I didn't want to like scrape my fucking ankle against a little jagged corner. So I rounded that off, which I really like. I think the open shelving is totally the way to go for this traffic area, because it just makes it feel way more open rather than a full cabinet that might make this space feel a little bit narrow. So I really liked open shelving. Obviously, you might run the risk of like brushing stuff off of here, but I don't feel too worried about it. I need to get some more L brackets because I end up using all of mine, and I do want to reinforce for sure this counter. I have 3 brackets on it, but I want to add at least 1 more because I feel like some dummy is gonna put all their weight on this counter, and if it's not like super secure, they're gonna break it and I will be pissed. I did think about putting like a leg all the way down this side, and I might still end up doing that, but I don't have anything that I thought would work for that. So I do have that idea in the back of my head, that just to really support that, to put some kind of like dowel, like thick leg, like rounded leg, like all the way through the shelves, and really support that. Overall, it went pretty much how I expected with installing it, because I'd done a lot of tweaking to get it to this point. I did mismeasure the back of the base for this side. So there's a corner that the base has to work around because there's cabinet and then there's trim back there. It's a dumb little wonky thing. But yeah, so now there's a gap between my base and the wall, and that's annoying. I'm just gonna end up using a really thin piece of wood and filling that gap in. Should be no big deal, but that's just my bad. I have never built a cabinet before, so yeah, I feel like I learned a lot. I definitely have gotten better about being very precise about measuring things and cutting things. I did want to be really precise with this because otherwise it's gonna look like crap, and it's not gonna look even close to being like somebody cared about it and took the time to build it with any amount of like skill. So, but even I can like see certain things about it that I'm like, ugh, like that did not go how I expected, or it doesn't look quite like I would really want it to. But that's just the way it goes. So yeah, until you have done these things, you won't really know if you are capable of doing it. And then you learn a bunch along the way, and it might be like friggin' awesome and people will be impressed. So, you know, dive in, build yourself a cabinet, just do it. So be on the lookout for a video I'm gonna do about filling in the space behind my oven, because now there's a big old gap because I want my oven to be flush with these cabinets. So I have a plan of what I'm gonna do with that. I think it'd be pretty cool, so be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, like, subscribe, check out the description below where you can find all the places to support me, like Etsy and PayPal, or check out my Instagram, or whatever you want to do. I appreciate anyone who like goes and does the extra things or like shares this with somebody. Otherwise, just keep watching because I love that too. It's literally one of the most important things that you could do is like just watch my videos to support me. So I have new videos every Friday, so I'll see you next week.
Yeah.